Good morning, day 11 of 22 Connect, and I'd like to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is fear. I like to say when I get into fear, I am a mofo. I don't think I'm unique in that. Fear has a tendency, we have a physiological response to it. It's our brains are amazing, our lymphatic system and everything. We can actually think a thought and our body will physiologically react as if that thought's real. So there are a few acronyms for fear, and the one that I used to operate off of, which is fuck everything and run. When I would get into fear, oh gosh, that's such a uncomfortable feeling that I wanted to do anything possible to get out of that feeling. And so what I would do is I would get into fear and then I'd react. So like, even if I get into anger, that's much more safe for me. If I, or if I, try and engage somebody else in fear or get them to, make me feel better or something like that, like, comfort me, that kind of thing. I would do whatever I could to try and get out of that feeling of fear. So, what I've realized for myself is that there's this whole slew of questions that I'm not even aware of until I kind of journal these things and really like analyze what's going on during the process. And for me, my life, all of my fears are in the future. That's just my truth. Right now in this moment, I'm safe. I'm loved. I'm not alone. I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine in this moment. But the fear is that in the future, maybe I try something and what if I can't do it? What if I fail? And the underlying issue for me for that is, what if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not good enough to do this? Or what if I'm not good enough to deserve this? And then the other thing too that kind of comes up for me is when I'm in fear is especially related to when I was really, really having depressive episodes and really sad. Getting sad still scares me a little bit because I have tools to get out of it, but I still worry sometimes. What if I never stop feeling like this? And that's a huge fear. Like in those moments where I feel just heartbroken or like this gut wrenching terror or sadness or hurt, whatever. It's terrifying for me to think I'm not going to get through this feeling. Now, and then, like what if this is the best it ever gets? When I was having depressive episodes and I was in the beginning and I was making those small incremental changes that didn't make like dramatic changes in my life, but built up over time, they've improved the quality of my life. But in the beginning, it was very easy to say, if I'd have one good day and then I'd have two bad days, it was very easy to say to myself, what if this doesn't work? What if this is the best that it gets? The best that it's ever going to be. So those are a lot of the internal dialogue that goes on with me with fear. And so some of the maladaptive behaviors that I developed is I would want guarantees on things. So if I was going to do something, I wanted to guarantee like this is my expectation. This is how I want it to go. So how do I make sure that's going to happen? And the one that I struggle with the most is guarantees in relationships, because there aren't any. There just aren't any, and life's not like that. So I've worked through a lot of this stuff, and what I've learned is that I have all of this evidence in my life that all of those times I thought I wasn't going to make it, that all of those times I was scared something awful was going to happen. And it's not to say that everything always went the way that I wanted it to. And it's not to say that, sometimes, oh my gosh, that's the worst thing possible that could ever happen. But the truth is I made it through it, and maybe I learned something from it. Or maybe I wanted a guarantee on a relationship, and, it was what I, was in for a while, and then, it ended, and I've had my heart broken, and I've made it through it, and I don't regret any of the experiences or the lessons that I've learned. So all of these fears of mine that are in the future, I have evidence in my life that proves that I'm going to be okay regardless of what happens. And in a lot of cases, like the universe is like how things have turned out have been so much better than if I had been the one who was picking and choosing how my life would go. I've had some incredibly fantastic experiences, both traveling and moving to different places, and friendships and relationships, and it just really it's been a great life. And so now one of the acronyms that I like to use about fear is false evidence appearing real. And so I kind of take into account that, those are my fears. Just as, there's a chance that that could happen. It's just as likely that something wonderful is going to happen. Or it's just as likely as that there's some scenario that I haven't even considered that's better than anything I could have possibly imagined. And that could happen too. And sometimes it does. So I'd like to share one tool that I do as far as mitigating fear. And that for me is by gathering information, not looking for guarantees, but gathering information, because that usually clarifies my decisions for me. So I've moved to 8 different states, and I've had people ask me about moving before, because it's a very scary prospect for a lot of people. And one of the things that I do for myself is, and I've done this several times, is if I think I'm interested in moving to a place, I'll take a week's vacation and I will go live there for a week. I'll just go be there. And check out where would be my grocery stores, where would be the places that I'd want to go, what's the social life kind of look like, and all that kind of stuff. And so that is, and I've made decisions based on that. At one point I thought I was going to move to San Francisco, and I stayed there for a while, and the homeless break my heart, and I don't want to harden my heart to the homeless people. So and that, and also a lot of people around me tends to it wears on me. I'm not really that good at big cities. So anyway, so that's what I kind of do now, is I mitigate that fear by gathering information. And what I've found is the more information, the more settled and more comfortable I feel about my decisions, and usually the better decisions that I make. Sometimes things actually make their own. The decision is just made for me. It's it just becomes absolutely crystal clear with more information. So hopefully that helps you guys. Good Saturday morning. I hope you go out and do something nice for yourself, and connect with somebody. Thank you.